guys, so I am seriously pumped about this one. Today we're going to be taking a look at the latest release of one of my personal favorite watches, the Oris Aquis. You guys will know this one is special as it houses Oris's new movement, the Calibre 400. I was initially interested in the watch for the movement, and that is definitely the highlight of the watch, but it is both a cool watch on the inside and out. Big thanks to Gem Bijou for lending in the watch. Gem Bijou is an authorized dealer for Oris and many other brands in the Toronto area. Links to their store as well as their YouTube channel will be in the description below. So we've got an interesting movement to talk about today, and the fact that it's running such a beautiful watch is icing on the cake, so let's get to it. Now, we've got quite the stunning watch here, especially with this beautiful blue dial. But this is a watch that's just as impressive on the inside, if not more so, than on the outside. I've been an Aquis owner for almost 5 years now, and I'm a pretty big fan of the line, so I'm glad they went with the Aquis for their first watch to house the new movement. The first thing I noticed about the movement is it isn't particularly decorated. It isn't really decorated at all, but it does look beautiful. What does this movement offer, though, in terms of features? It's a fairly lengthy list, and I'm sure you can read up on all the minute details, but the highlights start with the 120-hour or 5-day power reserve, which Oris proudly displays on the dial just above the date. To get that power reserve, the Calibre 400 uses twin barrels. The movement is also anti-magnetic and has been tested up to 2250 Gauss. The movement uses 30 components specifically to get that high level of anti-magnetic performance. The watch runs at 4 Hertz or 28,800 vibrations per hour. It is hacking and hand winding and is regulated by Oris to have an accuracy of between -3 and +5 seconds per day. Now, one thing that comes with new movements is the question, how will it hold up over time? How's it going to perform? Oris is putting potential buyers' minds at ease by offering a 10-year warranty, and actually Oris is also claiming a 10-year service interval for these watches, which is excellent too. Now, one last fun touch is Oris has the Oris bear as their mascot, and you can definitely see why this movement has picked up the nickname the Calibre 400. So what's going on under the hood is pretty special, but so's the watch itself. The blue dial is an eye catcher with that sunburst effect. It does tone down in lower light, but it's quite a vibrant dial. Even with the extra line of text with the 5 days, it's still a clean layout, I find. I'm actually glad they added that to kind of differentiate between the older models and this one. The date at the 6 keeps things symmetrical, and as a whole it's a very easy watch to read. Nice looking handset and applied hour markers, and they're given a solid application of BGW9. It's not blazing bright or anything, but it's long lasting, and I always like the icy blue look of BGW9. The bezel action seems to be improved over the previous models. Bit of a nicer feel to it. It's a 120 click bezel. Really no play at all, and the way the coin edge juts out a little bit beyond the case, it is very easy to grip. The crown action is also nice. No problems getting a hold of it to unscrew and use with that deep knurling. The winding action is butter. It is just silky smooth. One thing I noticed is when the date changes, it doesn't happen right at midnight. And I'm going to zoom in and try to show you guys here. And we'll just advance the time. You can see it started to move there a little bit ahead of midnight. And then advances to the next date just after midnight. So it's not too far off, but it's not quite an exact date change right at midnight. The crown does find the threads straight away, screws back in smoothly, and the crown is signed there with the Oris logo. The case is what's always done it for me with the Aquis. It is such a unique design, and even with the watch being 43.5 millimeters, I find it wears a little smaller than that. I love how the case sort of flares out from the top to the bottom. The crown guards and those thick lugs give it the tooly look the watch is famous for. And although the bracelet is integrated, which can be a negative on some watches, for me the bracelet is the way to go with these. There's one new feature with the bracelet we haven't seen on previous Aquis models, and that is these are quick release. If you want to swap to one of their rubber straps, there's a tab you open up and the strap comes off easily without having to mess with screws. The bracelet itself is nicely finished with polished outer links and brushed center links. Lots of great light play there. The links are screwed so easy to adjust. The clasp is signed Oris. Nice solid clasp with a dive extension. We've got 3 micro adjusts. I've seen it actually mentioned before, but the one thing that would have been great is some sort of quick adjust clasp. That would have really been good to have, but considering everything else the watch has going for it, it's a minor gripe. Size-wise, the watch comes in at, again, 43.5 millimeters. Lug to lug is 50 millimeters. The thickness isn't bad at all at 13.2 millimeters, and that includes the domed sapphire. The water resistance on the watch is 300 meters. So, final verdict for me is this seems to be a home run for Oris. Time will tell when it comes to the reliability of the movement, but that 10-year warranty certainly helps. One other note on the movement itself is it is developed in-house by Oris, but it's being manufactured by a third party. They're quite open about it. They're not trying to hide the fact. I'm actually curious as to who would be making these movements for them, but the cost on these has jumped over the last gen Aquis to $4,400 here in Canadian. I believe it's $3,500 US dollars. I'm not sure if it's just me, but that seems not so bad for a watch with a movement like this powering it. I'm definitely interested to see what else they decide to use this movement in. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. One other thing though before I let you go, I mentioned it in my last video, but the facial hair is coming back. I've signed up for a Movember account with just a small goal of raising $100 towards helping out with men's health. Anyone that can help it would be greatly appreciated. I'll be leaving a link to where you can donate in every video this month. It's definitely a great cause. So that is it for today. Thanks for taking the time to stop by, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.